Hey everyone, this is Pete, and welcome back to Atari A to Z, a series of short playthroughs of Atari 8-bit games, some which I grew up with and some which are new to me. Today is one of the latter. This is Wavy Navy. This was released in 1983, published by Sirius Software, and originally developed by Rodley McCauley for Apple II, and later ported to Atari and Commodore 64 the same year. It was reasonably well received back in the day, although most publications cautioned of its similarity to Galaxians. In fact, Antique magazine said that if you already own Galaxians, you probably shouldn't buy this. The most damning review at the time was by Michael Blanchett in the August 1983 issue of Electronic Fun, Computers and Games. And this was based on the Apple II version, but it obviously also applies to the Atari and Commodore 64 versions. He wrote, I quote the following from the package of Wavy Navy. Wow, sometimes it's hard to believe that Wavy Navy is just a video game. I agree with this statement wholeheartedly. Not only is Wavy Navy a video game, it's also a surefire cure for insomnia. And he went on to complain about being bored of playing Space Invaders on his computer. And yeah, to be fair, it's got a lot in common with things like Space Invaders and Galaxians and so on, but it's also got some unique aspects as well. So, let's go take a look. Alright, here we are with Wavy Navy, a game which, what was his name? Michael Blanchett really hated. So, yeah, let's see if it's really that bad. I'm sure it's not that bad. I am vaguely familiar with this, but I didn't play it back in the day. But I have tried this once myself previously. Yeah, that's about all I know about it. So, let's begin. Player 1. So, the interesting thing about Wavy Navy, as you can probably see, besides it being a Galaxians clone, is the fact that there is a Wavy C down at the bottom of the screen. And what that does is that means that it changes your Y coordinate on the screen as you're playing. And so when you're on the crest of a wave, you're obviously at a bit more risk, because there's less time before the things come swooping down to kill you. Victory! I have been promoted! And that's about it, really. So, the other thing that shows up are these mines. And so, if you're in one of the shallow bits... Oh, you're shooting at me, you shit. Yeah, if you're in one of the shallow bits when one of those mines passes by and you collide with it, then obviously that's going to sink you. So, that's another thing you need to bear in mind. But, as you can see, the planes can also crash into the waves. Rather satisfyingly. So yeah, I remember this from last time I tried this game. I actually ended up rather liking this game. So yes, it is a shameless Galaxians ripoff, but it's an enjoyable one. And the little twist that it adds on the formula with the waves at the bottom, I really like that. It's because it gives you something extra to think about, especially when it starts introducing those mines and stuff as well. Well, we're going the other way now. And a bit faster. I also really like the explosion effect in this. Reminds me of Star Raiders 2 and or The Last Starfighter. The latter of which we've previously seen on this series quite a long time ago now. Also getting some quite tricky bullet patterns to deal with. And that, I think... Oh dear. That, I think, is quite a distinction from Galaxian. Which, as I say, is what this game is most commonly compared to. But in Galaxians, you don't have to weave your way through, like, screen-filling... Well, it's not screen-filling, is it? But certainly quite tricky bullet patterns like that. And those rapid-fire machine guns from the helicopter. They're quite tricky to deal with as well. Oh no! Yeah, this is a fun challenge, actually. Deckhand! And we've got fun little nautical themes and music as we go through as well. I wonder if they got a different theme for everything or if they start repeating themselves after a while. You seem to get an extra life every time you finish a stage as well, so this is one of those games that you could theoretically play for quite a long time if you get good at it. And we get an interesting mix of new mechanics being added each level as well. So yeah, Michael Blanchett, I am led to believe that you are simply a miserable old bastard who does not like shooting things. And if you were playing video games on home computers in the early 80s and you did not like shooting things, what was wrong with you? No, I do kind of get his point, because I'm sure it would have got rather tiresome at some point, especially if you were a reviewer, to be constantly seeing things that were trying to reimagine Space Invaders or Galaxians and so on. But it's not as if there was a shortage of creative and interesting stuff as well, because, I mean, look at the other stuff we've seen on this series to date. We haven't seen a ton of repetition in terms of mechanical and thematic elements. I mean, yes, we've seen a few spaceship shooters, but they've all been mechanically distinct. So I think sort of the closest thing we've seen to this on this series so far would be Gorf. But Gorf was very distinct to this because it had that multi-phase gameplay. It had all those different styles of shooting. It had that unusual repeating shot mechanic. Whereas in this, you've got very large missiles that you fire up the screen. So you don't have to be too accurate, but you can only fire one at a time. You've got those interesting bullet patterns to dodge. You've got the wavy waves at the bottom. Wavy waves. Redundant. But never mind. Yeah, I like this. This is good. I didn't really pay a huge amount of attention. Oh dear. I didn't really pay a huge amount of attention to publishers and developers back at the time. But, yeah, coming back to it recently, I've really got a lot of time for Sirius Software, who are the publisher of this. I think they also publish Capture the Flag and Way Out that we've previously seen on this series as well. So, yeah, I've got a lot of time for them. They put out some really interesting stuff and some really sort of diverse stuff as well. So a real different mix of types of game and experience. So, yeah, Sirius Software, definitely worth taking a look at. Anyway, that was Wavy Navy. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please help out the channel by leaving a like or a comment and subscribing. New episodes of Atari A to Z are on Tuesdays and Atari ST A to Z on Thursdays. Check out atariatoz.wordpress.com for a full archive. Do please also check out my other projects moegamer.net, where I explore Japanese and Japanese-inspired games from yesterday and today, and videopackgames.wordpress.com, which aims to catalogue the small but well-formed library of the Philips G7000 Videopack computer, also known as the Magnavox Odyssey 2. You can also support my work on Patreon or buy me a coffee. You can find links to do both down in the video description. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.